The 25th of April 2043. Server Beta. Los Digiangeles. Matthew and Gaomon returned home shortly after their meeting. It was tense to say the least. Matthew was going to ask Strabimon if he knew how to release a Digimon from the control of a Digivice, but he was at work. So they had to wait for him to come home. Eventually this led to them sleeping, and Matthew waking up to barking. "Who are you and why you in ma apartment ya blue-haired home in Veda? Don't yell at me. I've had a stressful night and I'm not going to deal with more Numimon sludge." "Oh, I'm sorry princess, welcome to my home, make yourself comfortable." Darkness hand. Gao rush. Matthew heard this struggle and quickly runs out of his bedroom, still in the clothes from the previous adventure. He saw Strabimon and Gaomon fighting. Gaomon a complete blue blur who is leaping around the room from the ceiling to the walls before striking at Strabimon, notably not causing any damage to the surrounding area. Strabimon, however, was cheating, as Gaomon was attacking. Strabimon was chanting in Digicode, using magic. Each attack there was something different, whether it was solidified air or hard light or something stopping it. "Guys. Stop. Strabimon, that's my friend." As on cue, both Digimon halted their attacks, each growling at each other as they settled into chairs at the table. Phew. Okay, so Strabimon meet Gaomon. Gaomon Strabimon. How the sludge did ya already get a partner? Strabimon was understandably surprised by the ease of which, unless someone was wealthy or had great friendships already established, by force. He means that it was an accident. I got mugged, he helped me, and the Digivice captured him. Matt very hastily explained. He didn't quite know Strabimon's politics regarding that. "Ah, that sucks. Well, good luck." Strabimon showed absolutely no hint of sympathy as he grabbed Digibytes from a cabinet and started to munch. "What? You've got to be kidding me. There's nothing you can do." Gaomon was rightfully furious and turned to Matthew with rage in his eyes. "Yeah, you got it." Matthew started to curl up with fear from the angry Digimon. "I have a friend who runs a tamer store, though." There was a loud sigh of relief from both the tamer and his Digimon. "They probably can't do anything, though, so don't get your hopes up. Also, Matthew, since you got your first partner now, I won't need to take you down to the forest to catch a Digimon. Blue hair here can do it for me. Don't volunteer me for anything. I have a life." "Hey. It's fine, we can figure that out later. Let's just eat and get going." "Who's your friend Strabimon?" "A tamer by the name of Gwen. I was friends with her dad. You can recognize her by the black Gilmon hat she wears." "All right. Thank you." Matthew sighed and got him and Gaomon some Wamon crunch. This was not how he thought becoming a tamer would be. It was so stressful so soon. After getting refreshed and heading out onto the street, Matthew took a moment to just admire the city, calm down from the likely stressful day he's about to have. The beautiful sky was lively with bird and holy Digimon, their beautiful wings taking them across the city quickly, what he wouldn't give to be able to fly. "Hey, Matt. That's your name, right? I want to say I'm sorry for being so aggravated. I bet an angry beast Digimon wasn't the first experience you wanted as a tamer." Gaomon tugged on Matthew's hoodie and looked up at him, sheepishly apologetic. "I get it, I do. And my name is Matthew, I've never really abbreviated it." He kneeled down to look his partner in the eyes, instinctively trying to pet the dog Digimon. "Sorry, but I do have a life that I want to get back to. If we are stuck together, I'm willing to cut a deal regarding us working together, but I don't want to spend every waking moment as your pet. It's equal or I eat your data. That's fair. Listen, I wanted to do things right. I was going to go to the forests and catch a wolf Digimon with Strabimon's help. That way I wasn't really causing anyone problems. So, what do you do? We can probably work around jobs. I'm a scavenger in the Undercity. Don't worry about it. We are getting eyed up by a Gazimon and I don't feeling like fighting my cousin Mons." Gaomon reached up to pull Matthew along towards the inner city. The city was beautiful and Matthew laments that he doesn't get to experience it more often. To get from the lesser neighborhood that Matthew lives in, they had to take a Locomon into the shopping district. Unlike Wizardmon's general store, the shopping district had more auctions and also more tamers. The train was also pretty full of them too, and it was pretty scary. Matthew was a huge Digimon fanboy himself, and his Digiterminal was running overtime as it informed him of all the various Digimon they were cooped up with. A Leomon, several Ponchessmon, an Elecmon, a Leopardmon, all types of Digimon, big or small, strong or weak. All of their tamers were also there, some being future allies on the guard team and others being possible challengers, it's hard to say. But a certain nervousness couldn't leave Matthew's stomach as he eyes the more powerful Digimon. Don't be worried about them. I've taken on Digimon twice their size. Gaomon flexed to try and make Matthew feel better. Matthew honestly couldn't tell how he knew, but it was probably on his face, or perhaps the Digivice. Oh, you are a fighter? Explains how fast you are. Speaking of which, when you were fighting Strabimon, I noticed a pattern. You avoided jumping on things that would make noise. It was something that caught Matthew's eye, but obviously in the moment it wasn't really relevant. Oh, good eye. Yeah, I didn't want to be a bother, especially with the yelling. If it wasn't for the whatever he did, I'd have took him down quick with a Gao rush. He was doing magic. Strabimon is a wizard of Witchelney. Never heard of it. Sounds like cheating to me. A good beast Digimon should be right up close in the action, throwing fist and blade. Interesting morals. Gaomon. You do tournament battles then? Or spar? You don't worry about it. Gaomon suddenly decided to give Matthew the cold shoulder regarding his profession. It was obviously suspicious and led Matthew to some answers he really hoped weren't true. Pulling up to the station, the two would disembark after fussing up a bit of food for the Locomon's toll. He had to keep on running after all. The station was packed with Tamer and Digimon alike, and Matthew had to hold Gaomon's arm to make sure neither were lost as they left the station and went down a flight of stairs into possibly the most beautiful part of the city Matthew had ever seen. It was a network of buildings just like in his district, but there were also plants, fountains, signs that had more than just adult imagery. There actually seemed to be some color to this city, like it was supposed to. Truth be told, Matthew hadn't really seen much, as under their feet was where he had spent most of his life. In the sewers and tunnels it was full of data packets just bouncing around from random data expulsions. A lot of people also used the underground for markets and garages and other things you couldn't fit up on the flying island. One day, as a member of a guard team, he'd have his own garage down there, his team of Digimon to support his efforts behind the scenes. Hey Matthew, you were drooling. Gaomon snapped Matthew out of his daydreams by tugging on his arm and pointing at one of the stores. That says it's a tamer store right over there. Let's hope it's who your friend told us about. Gaomon, without waiting on Matthew, would just leap over the guardrail to run over to it. Granted, if Matthew was chained to someone for a day, he'd probably be impatient too. Quickly following, Matthew almost ran into a Nightmon as he followed. Entering the store, it was a pretty average place. Much different to Wizardmon's store, this place was almost a shoebox in size, with large kind of imposing display cases that offered a lot of brand gear meant for tamers to use in battle. It all looked kind of nice too. Matthew wished he had money, as some of the capture ropes, support card decks, and others looked alluring for their price. But as Matthew's attention was suddenly grabbed by a cutsy girl in a wheelchair behind the counter. She was blonde with freckles, cute glasses too, alongside the black Gaomon hat she wore on her head. One moment. The girl turned her head and tried to quickly put a book away behind her, but reached too far and ended up falling out of her wheelchair before Gaomon swiftly caught her. Don't touch her. Pyrosphere. Suddenly bursting out of the back with a malicious look was a massive black Gaomon who fired a ball of plasma at Gaomon. Gaomon raising his arms to block and being shot into the wall. Bits of data flying off of him as that shot did a lot of damage. Whoa! Stand down! As the tamers started to shout for their Digimon, Matthew caught Gaomon and held him tight as he started to glitch from the intense damage. As the fight was over and Black Gaomon helped its tamer into her chair, Gaomon seemed to recover enough to pull himself back together. What in the sludge is wrong with your Digimon? Matthew said, obviously upset and worried for almost watching another Digimon die in his arms, his heartbeat spiking to an insane levels as he stared at the now getting angry again Black Gaomon. I'm so sorry. Black Gaomon in storage. The tamer raised her D4 and stored Black Gaomon before he could cause another fight. It's fine, I could have took him. Gaomon weakly forced himself to stand and flexed his muscles. He's lucky he got that sneak attack in. Matthew crouched down to just keep a hand on Gaomon. Any moment Gaomon could destabilize and at least his data should be saved by the Digivice. He wouldn't disappear forever, he hoped. Again, I'm so sorry sirs for that, he's overprotective. Very overprotective. I'm Gwendolyn Thatcher by the way. I obviously own this store. What did you need? You got the D5 so I'm guessing you were wanting upgrades for it? Maybe support cards if you don't have any already? Whatever you need I got it. Gwen seemed eager to not scare off her customers, and that look in her eyes, one of both shame and frustration on her face, made Matthew let go of his anger. He could hold a grudge later. Well, neither. I just recently got the D5 and it instantly caught this Gaomon here. It was an accident and Strabimon sent us here to see if you could separate us. Oh no, I'm really sorry regarding such an unfortunate situation. I guess we just kind of added onto it too. Listen, I'll check the manuals and see what I can do for you guys, and tell Strabimon I said hello. The mention of Strabimon seemed to make Gwen flinch and be even more disappointed in this. She would wheel into the back, leaving the two alone for a bit, which Gaomon took as an opportunity to sit down and hold himself together. You okay? No, but I'll deal with it. I'm all speed but no defense. By Yggdrasil, I should have saw that coming. No, you shouldn't have. Come on Gaomon, after this we should get you to some form of healer or something. You can't be in this condition for long or you'll degenerate or worse. It's fine. I'm in this condition a lot, I'm tough. Gaomon forced himself to stay together with pure willpower and looked up at Matthew. All right partner. Let's just go over basics while we wait. What do you want from our temporary team up? Scavs don't normally get Digimon. I want to join the guard team. It's, you know, the best way to make a name for yourself. Hey. All right. Then I can carry you through the entry tournament, semi-finals at least. Do you have support cards? We'll also want a second, so I'm not going in alone. I doubt your gray-haired cheater would help, so we'll need a strong capture rope too. No guarantees on if we'll score a good partner though. Gaomon pointed to one of the displays and Matthew started to look them over. It was nothing he could afford, but perhaps he could get a loan from one of those tamer generals? He'd hate the debt though. I can help you guys. Well, with that I can. Sadly, I just don't have the equipment nor control to manipulate a Digivice in such a way. But, well, I kind of owe you guys one, and well, Strabimon was a good friend of my dad's, so here. You want a good strong Digimon for your second? Well, a capture rope is a selective way, but I have a raffle ticket for you. Could let the raffle decide for you and see what awesome Digimon you get. Maybe an Agumon? Or of course a Gilmon? Oh, and support cards. My store specializes in tailoring decks for supporting Digimon and providing self-defense for tamers. She quickly started to sift through the counter and pulled out a deck and raffle ticket for them. A sort of silent conversation would go between the tamer and Digimon. Matthew didn't have the money and just had to relent as he walked over to take the ticket. Could you spend some time tailoring the deck to support Gaomon? Something so he can take a hit. No, we want more speed, more firepower too. They couldn't quite decide on what option to go for. Matthew never wanted to see a Digimon disappear ever again, and seeing Gaomon struggling from a rookie's blast is just not good. But Gaomon was the fighter, an experienced one too. I'll tailor it. A War Grey Mon shield for a fast defensive barrier. Angemon wings, it's good to be able to fly. Gargomon blasters for a ranged and melee boost. And I'm throwing in this for your ace. Dark Digivolution. It's a solid option card that will always be in your hand. Be careful when you play it too. What it does is during a fight you can have a Digimon digivolve to the next stage, but they only get half their power and the next Digivolutions are going to ultimately be weaker. So ideally you either want to use this when Gaomon just can't digivolve yet, or when he's all done going to the absolute peak he could operate at. That good? The deck was put before him and it was 20 cards, each one seeming pretty helpful as it was meant to either save Gaomon or help him apply the pressure needed to win. Though Matthew felt a little odd taking the Dark Digivolution card, just had feelings regarding it. That works with me. Let's open the raffle, Matthew. We should know who we are working with before training. Looking to Gwen, she handed it to him and the instructions just told him to twist it open. Quickly, just taking a moment to breathe and hope the digital god Digimon are willing to give them a break, he opened it. There was a sharp gasp and then he saw who will be his second partner, and then appearing before him was a strong massive Dragonman Digimon. With pure black scales, Dramon destroying gauntlets, and yellow hair. My name is Black War Greymon. And I am the strongest Digimon of them all. It was several minutes before someone could even speak normally. Gaomon leapt into the Digivice's storage. Gwen was screaming with joy. And Matthew was in shock. Black War Greymon was just starting to be annoyed. Can someone gag her? It asked both politely and annoyed, it stomping over to her to just size her up like an opponent to slaughter. Black Gilmon valiantly leaving the Digivice to get between them, but this time was unwilling to make the first move. Hi, I'm Matthew, your new tamer. Come. You seem weak. The Black War Greymon simply walked over and lifted him up like a sack of feathers. If you are the tamer I must serve, then my life has lost meaning. Summon me forth if you find enemies worthy of my time. And with that verbal castration, he just walked into Matthew's shadow like it was some form of open door. What the sludge? Matthew started to freak out as he both got the best and worst pick possible. If Black Wargreymon didn't consider the tournament a worthy challenge, then Gaomon is basically on his own. There aren't any do-overs, are there? Gwen just shook her head with a big grin on her face. He is so cool. You are now my favorite customer by Yggdrasil. I love Dragon Digimon and you just got their king. The baddest, strongest and most terrifying of them all. Come back soon. I need to see him again. After slowly leaving the store, Matthew chose to just sit alone in the quietest spot he could find. It looked like just an ordinary cafe that just didn't have any customers. On TV there was an ad with Rika Nonaka advertising a new Digi-Beetle. She was one hell of a tamer on her home server. He wondered if he would meet her in the studio district. Well, he'd need to get on the guard team first. And with only one Digimon that was gonna be hard.